Did you ever hear of Capernaum before?
Yes.
This is my
You read.
They were sleeping. Every time the gospel is read, they were sleeping.
I'll tell you a joke. One day, a driver and a priest went into heaven. The priest knocked on the door of heaven. St. Peter opens, because we are at St. Peter's house, but on heaven. So St. Peter opens and he sees the priest. He will ask him to wait outside at the benches, at the waiting area. The priest looked at him, surprised. Well, maybe it's for a few seconds, let me wait. A bus driver gets in and knocks on the door. St. Peter asks him to enter. Enter, my son, please, welcome. The priest who was watching this said, what a shame. A bus driver enters heaven before me. I am the representative of Jesus on earth. I have to wait outside while this man enters. Well, he was so upset, of course. So he waits 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months outside. Then 2 months are over, then he knocks on the door. The priest, St. Peter opens, say, yes, now you may enter. But, St. Peter, I would like to ask you a question. Tell me, how come that I, priest, I have to wait outside for 2 months and others, including a bus driver, enters before me? How can you explain this? Well, St. Peter would answer, you know, my son, you know how it goes here in heaven. We give people priority to get to heaven according to the credit of prayers they have done on earth. Huh? How come? Yes, Father. When you pray at the church, everybody's sleeping. While the bus driver, when he drives, everybody's praying. So that's why the bus driver gave us more credit of prayers than you.
Don't worry, Father Mark.
But this does not concern Father Mark.
That's a very subtle way of telling Father.
Doesn't apply to him. Doesn't apply to him.
Because I don't know.
Present company excluded.
Anyway, since we're talking of Father Mark, I'm going to take the Gospel of Mark. Now let's go to serious things. Gospel of Mark is very important because Mark was the student of Peter. Mark has given us so many details about the life of Jesus that was given by Peter himself. So when you come to Capernaum, you are sure that you're putting your feet upon the area where Jesus walked. And this is the only, if not, well, I say one of the only places where archaeology fits with the Bible. So when you come and look around, you have many ruins. You will look around and you will see stones, black stones with numbers on them. The Franciscans bought this piece of land in 1904 and they have started excavating the area because Franciscans are also archaeologists. They knew that in Capernaum they will find a synagogue. They must find it. And other churches that were built here during the Byzantine period. So they will excavate the area and they will uncover, they will discover the ruins of the synagogue, which is right there. And they will discover the ruins of the Byzantine church, which is found beneath the modern one. So when they went more into details, they have discovered that the foundation of that synagogue, which means the first line down, has black color, which is from the 1st century, from the first foundation of the first synagogue, while the upper construction dates back to the 4th or 5th century. A synagogue that was built for the Jews who were living side by the Christians who were having the Byzantine church. It's amazing, this place. One of the places where Jews and Christians lived together. So archaeologists, whether they are Christians or Jews or even Muslims, not many of them are here, but Jews and Christian archaeologists do confirm that the area here has ruins from the 1st century up to the 7th century. And do confirm that this area has so many symbols, stones having symbols referring to a Jewish presence here. So it was from the 1st century where the disciples used to come. They have also discovered other remains that prove that this was a city for agriculture means and for fishing. Many ruins. What does it mean? It means that it was a very dynamic area. It's like a market, souk in Arabic. The market of Capernaum. By the way, the French people have an expression at home when a father enters the room of his son. He told him, "C'est le Capernaum chez toi." It's Capernaum at your place. Referring to the market or the disorder that used to exist. Because it was a souk. So this is a very important point. This means that Capernaum was a strategic town. Actually, in this country, this is Israel, like this. North, south, west, east. This is the Negev, and we are here, the Sea of Galilee. And we have a highway that we call the Via Maris that connects Africa, passing by the Holy Land, and it has a branch that goes to the north and another branch that goes to Syria. Capernaum is located at the branch of the highway going to Syria. This means that it was a station where people can stop for half a day to shop, to buy fish, to buy olive oil, before going to Syria, passing through the Golan. So it's a strategic town. So it was not by chance that Jesus would choose to come to this place and live here, because he used to meet many nations. In addition to the fact that he used to know a centurion, which is a general of 80 soldiers in the Roman army. So he had protection because Herod Antipas was going to arrest Jesus after he arrested whom? John the Baptist. So Jesus chose Capernaum first because he was rejected from his people in Nazareth. We will mention this tomorrow. Second, he was seeking protection because he knew the centurion. Herod Antipas would never come here. Three, because of the many nations who used to pass here, including the Jewish population, his own people. So we have a strategic town. And the Bible tells us that how many times Jesus get in and get out of Capernaum. So now you know that Capernaum was mentioned not for a simple reason, but for an important reason, as the hometown of Jesus. What do we have here? We have foundations from the 1st century to the 7th century areas. Let me have the Bible. Let us read from the book of Mark. And just have your spirit around the place. As soon as they left the synagogue, they went with James and John to the home of Simon and Andrew. Simon's mother-in-law was in bed with a fever, and they told Jesus about her. So he went to her, took her hand and helped her up. The fever left her and she began to wait on them. That evening after sunset, the people brought to Jesus all sick and demon-possessed. The whole town gathered at the door, and Jesus healed many who had various diseases. He also drove out many demons, but he would not let the demons speak because they knew who he was. Another time, they went to Capernaum, and when the Sabbath came, it's very important, Jesus used to do miracles on Sabbath. For him, for Jesus, man is not done for Sabbath. Sabbath is done for men. For man. So he used to do miracles on Sabbath. He used to teach on Sabbath or Shabbat. Jesus went into the synagogue, began to teach. The people were amazed at his teaching because he taught them as one who had authority, not as the teachers of the law. Just then, a man in their synagogue who was possessed by an evil spirit cried out, "What do you want with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." "Be quiet," said Jesus sternly. "Come out of him." The evil spirit shook the man violently and came out of him with a shriek. The people were all so amazed that they asked each other, "What is this? A new teaching? And with authority, he even gives orders to evil spirits and they obey him." News about him spread quickly over the whole region of Galilee. Then if you continue, you will have the same passage I read. As soon as they left the synagogue, they went to the house of Simon, whose mother-in-law was sick. So you have the synagogue, and you have St. Peter's house, and archaeology confirmed that this is from the 1st century. So guys, this is likely to say that the Bible, the Gospel, is authentic. And what Mark is telling us is proven with archaeology. So if you read the Gospel of Mark, you have other passages dealing with Capernaum. This is the place where Jesus said the famous speech about the bread of life. "I am the bread of life, and who eats from this bread will never have hunger." And this was the time when he said this speech, many have left him because they said, "What kind of man is this? What is he saying?" So only the apostles stayed with him. Jesus wanted to tell everybody that he's a divine person and not anyone. Whoever eats from this bread will never be hungry. So Capernaum is a place that is run by the Franciscans, and it has many symbols from the Jewish presence in this village. And one of the stones that you see right there is this famous stone because it shows you a chariot carrying the Ark of the Covenant. It used to be one of the stones that were built over the synagogue. So this is to tell you that it was a Jewish symbol and a Jewish presence here. So, synagogues, now you have to know that a synagogue, which is called the house of the assembly, was the place where students of 8 years old would start to go to school. So a synagogue was a school. A synagogue was also a place where those who cannot read and write were gathering, listening to the master, like Jesus. people used to sit in the benches around the synagogue and listen to their master, to the rabbi. Jesus. So synagogues, before the destruction of the temple in the year 70, were the place of teaching, reading the Torah. While the temple in Jerusalem was the place of the prayer, of the sacrifice, of the pilgrimage. All Jews who were living in the diaspora were to go, it's a must, were to go to Jerusalem 3 times a year. Yeah, they have to go to the synagogue, to the temple during the feast of Pesach, which is Easter, the feast of the Tabernacle, which is Sukkot, and the feast of the Pentecost, which is Shavuot. Sukkot, Shavuot, Pesach, 3 times a year. So after the destruction of the temple, no more pilgrimage was done as a must. But Jews in the world used to pray in their heart, referring to the temple. Anyway, Jesus have said once that he will build that temple of Jerusalem that was built in 90 years. He will destroy it and build it in 3 days. Actually, he was referring to his own resurrection. This is our third temple. So, the Judeo-Christians have followed Jesus, have recognized him as the Messiah, and that's why the very first community among the Christians were Jews who followed Peter and Paul, and they started establishing churches. And St. Peter's house is the first church in Christianity. We call it the domestic church, Homo Ecclesia. The first church in Christianity, the first church as a house, where they used to gather and pray. That's why. Just beneath the modern church, once you come closer there, you will see an octagonal, which means 8 sides. And this was the basement of the Byzantine church that was built over the roof of the house of St. Peter. So archaeologists went down and they have excavated the room of St. Peter, the cell. And they have discovered more than 220 different inscriptions in honor of Petros, Poulos, and Christos. Pierre, Peter, Paul, and Jesus, in different languages. Syriac, Latin, Greek, Hebrew. This means that pilgrims from all over the world came to honor and to venerate the first church, which is the domestic church. So the Byzantine, they came and built that church over the house itself, and in the year 749, an earthquake destroyed most of the buildings here, so the synagogue as well as the church. So in 1989, the Franciscans built that modern church in such a way that once you are inside, you can look at the bottom, at the middle of the church, and you have a glass giving a view over the roof of St. Peter's house. So if you can visit the church and have a look outside. You can get close and have a look beneath the church itself. You can visit the synagogue, the huge Greek-style synagogue. It has 2 stories. The upper one may have been used for women because there has been separation between women and men. And have a look around the area. See how stones are done out of very special material. This is the last point I'm going to give you. The stones that you see around are called basalt stone. Basalt stone. B-A-Z-A-L-T. Basalt. And basalt, it's a kind of stone that is likely to become a stone out of the eruption of volcano. Because the Golan Heights were hundreds of millions of years ago was a volcano. And the last time it has erupted was in 90,000 years ago. And all the stones here from this region came from the Golan. And this kind of stone do store heat. What does it mean? This will help us understanding how houses were built. All the houses in Capernaum were built in a circular way, like this. It's a way to extend and to become bigger as a village. You will never find two floors built out of basalt stone. All houses had the roof done out of branches of trees with dust. Easy to dig. This will help us understanding how the paralytic was lowered from the roof. It was easy to dig on the roof and to lower the paralytic. Now why is that? Because the basalt stone store heat. If you build two floors with basalt stone, the one who lives down will be living in a sauna. So they used to dig into the ground and have fresh air coming from the ground. Sometimes. And when a family becomes bigger, they will build another extension to it. And so on. And in the middle there are streets. Because here if you go out from the synagogue, look at the left-hand side, there are a small street leading to the house. Otherwise, the houses are built on their original places. So they have uncovered the entire town of Capernaum. Okay? West